Hey, everybody, welcome to the second episode of the great podcast known as Father Figures. I'm your host, Dre, the Geek Dad, and this is the second episode of this little mini series I'm doing, which is called Representation in Cartoons. The first episode, obviously, we talked about Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur. Sadly, that show has come to an end. And pardon my surroundings because we're moving and we literally move in 5 days. So I am trying to make sure this video gets out to you guys while I know the background looks terrible, but hopefully you'll be focusing more on the information, less on my background. But guess what? Next week's episode, when it drops, will be from the new location. I'm also using a new camera. It seems to be working really, really awesomely. So I'll be using that new camera as well. And let's just start the show, folks. So I did create a little slideshow for you guys. And this is actually a great cartoon. I'm a huge Spider fan. Y'all know this about me. You guys watch the videos. Y'all know Rory is and Pete, I should just call her Peanut. Everybody knows Peanut is a huge fan of Spider-Man. Pretty much everybody in the family has kind of become Spider fans by default because the two of us love it. And, you know, this show is awesome. Obviously, we're going to get into a little bit of details about each of the characters that are represented in the show in the sense of who's represented in the show. Obviously, the three names are Peter Parker, Ghost Spider, and Spin. Yeah, I know, Miles is Spin. We're not going to, we'll get into that slide first. So, Miles Morales, aka, folks, they call him Spin. He has been one of the mainstay characters on the show. He is, an awesome character. Love his character. He literally has been on since episode 1, and they are currently in their third season, which is the web spinners and dinosaurs kind of crossover. So they've introduced other characters, which I'll be discussing in this video. But obviously, one of the things I love is looking into the voice actors, looking into the kind of idea of what the character is. And he is voiced by Jakari Frazier, typical Disney alum. I mean, just if you guys Google it or just IMDb his career as I did, he quickly has been in other Disney shows. And he's very cool as a character. I think he does a great job voicing Miles Morales, or Spin, when he's not in costume. Miles still has his crazy cool powers, the invisibility, but this is a kid-friendly show, so there's a lot less of uh, the typical hijinks that we would see in the comics as well as in the Spider-Verse. So it's a lot toned down. Now, some cool facts I found out about this. This is a multiverse spinoff of Miles. So this is not the typical Miles Morales that we always know. This is a version that when the show was being pitched, he was going to be called Kid Arachnid. There was some promotional materials I found online that showed this as like potential script names for his character. They were going to call him Spidey, like a spy, because they were tying it to his dad being a spy working for Shield, like in the comic books. But they eventually just worked with Spin to kind of keep in tune with the music career, or spinning a web, as the idea is, because he spins a web. So I like it. Very cool. Now, this one threw me for a loop because I wasn't going to throw Black Panther into this slideshow. And a lot of my friends were like, well, how could you not throw Black Panther? It's like, come on. I decided to, and when I did, holy crap. True Valentino, his voice actor, first off, was on the Rookie for 3 seasons, from season 4 to season 7, but then his character got transferred at the end of season 6 because of what happened. I'm not going to get into details. If you watch the show, True Valentino does a great job, and it's kind of interesting because I feel like his voice of T'Challa is very. It feels more like he's a teenager, like, or a young adult, like maybe getting like 18 into his 20s version of T'Challa. He still creates things. He's also been around since the first season and is been an ally to the characters. So there are kind of like, yeah, I'm not getting into any of the enemies, even though I could probably do a whole video on representation with the enemies. But I felt like doing the heroes, their allies. Because I just thought, one, if kids decide, if parents want to watch this with their kids, they can actually see this video and be like, hey, look, there's a little information. But two, there was a lot more representation, I feel, with the heroes than there are the villains. And I can make a whole video on why I think that that's the case. So obviously, we all know what his powers are. He's the king of Wakanda, the son of T'Chaka. You know, obviously gets it from his powers from the heart-shaped herb and a vibranium-powered suit, or I should say, laced suit. I wish they actually went into more about like what's going on in Wakanda in this show, like because it would just show up in New York. So now here's one a lot of my friends and I were talking about that I think is really cool. Because yes, folks, spoiler alert, in like a month and a half's time, when we get Daredevil Born Again, we're going to be getting Hector Ayala, who is the original White Tiger. Now, this is his daughter, Ava Ayala, who is White Tiger in the cartoon. Now, Hector in the comics in like the late 70s, I want to say early mid 70s, early 80s, was the White Tiger. His daughter, Ava, actually takes on the mantle after her aunt, his sister, had tried to don the mantle during Hector got like injured. Or I think it was the time when he was in prison wrongfully, which is kind of tied into a Daredevil storyline, which I thought was really cool. Her powers are actually very similar to Vixen from the DCEU, which is she's got powers from an amulet. Now, mind you, Vixen is a supermodel, and then her powers, the amulet gives her power. Where Ava is like a trained martial artist, like she is street savvy, fighter, can fight, and then gains these supernatural powers from this amulet, which is the green amulet on her chest. Now she's been on the show since season 2. She has sporadically showed up during the season 2 arcs, but I've seen her a few more times in season 3, which is the current season run, and it is set to have a season 4 come out later this year. So very cool. She's actually voiced by Kylie Cantrell, a Disney alum who is in the Descendants movie. Only reason I recognized her was because of the red dreads. Like I chose this picture with her hair like this color, so that's why I was like, okay, let's rock. And I realized that she can actually sing, she dances, as well as she is a voice actress. Reptile. Now, Reptile is an interesting character. I was first exposed to Reptile in the comic books about 3 years ago. I was looking at Marvel comics at my local shop, and I love Velociraptors. And Reptile was a humanoid that had like a human torso, and then like he had a raptor set of legs. I was like, what the heck is this? And then I found out he was a Latino American. I was like, yes, all right, representation. I was like a different superhero. Never heard of this character. Very cool character. And he showed up in the show in season 2, but has been a main character ish in season 3 with the Dinos arc. His amulet that he has gifted them powers because he's imbued some of it into their super suits. So, like, Peter gets, I forgot what Peter turns into. I know Gwen, who's Ghost Spider, she turns into a pterodactyl, and I think Smiles turned into a triceratops. They all turn into different dinosaurs, and I think it's really cool. I'm sorry, my allergies have been driving me nuts since we've been moving dust everywhere. Um, but this is what makes it so cool: is that he gifted his powers to the super team, and he's like got a base that's like a jungle, which I think I showed it. If you guys caught Brick Something show, I actually showed the jungle playset, which Santa Claus bought for Peanut. It has like a T-Rex head, and like it's very cool. Now, his character has been voiced by two people. Hoku Ramirez, who is the gentleman up here with the striped shirt, and he was the one that voiced him in season 2. Now, I didn't hear of a tonal change. That was the interesting thing. So I like how they might have used some synthesizers and some voice manipulation to keep it going. But his voice actor, Ryan Lopez, has been the current voice actor for season 3. And obviously his powers are crystallized dinosaur bone medallion that's actually in Reptile's chest. And it, they made it for the show, not for uh, the comics. In the comics, he could turn into any kind of dinosaur he wants. In the show, in the episode that he dons this, that he gives Spidey, Spin, and Ghost their powers, they get one dinosaur of their choice, and they each get one. And I thought it was pretty cool. I think Spidey got a T-Rex form because I did see prototypes for a T-Rex Spidey, the Ghost Spider pterodactyl I've seen. She calls it Peter, that you can lift his mask up. And the darndest thing, Lizard has been a very big part of that season, and the toys are like impossible to find. So I've looked on eBay because I've been trying to get Peanut all the characters because she loves the show. And I'm trying to find her Lizard, Reptile, and the actual superheroes as their dinosaurs. So if you guys do come across that, hit me up in the comments here in my DMs on Insta, so that way I might be able to try to help. You guys want to send it, like you guys bought it, I'll buy it. Be fair. As a parent giving to his kid, so just help with that. And this character, like I said, I was exposed to him a few years ago in the comics, and I'm glad that he's an obscure character that's getting recognized. Hopefully, we will see him in the MCU. Now, this is another great character. This is Kamala Khan. And she has been on the show since season 1, and she is known as a mutant. Actually, she's known as an inhuman. They don't call her a mutant in the show. She's an inhuman, and she is voiced by Sandra Saad, who is also an actress of Muslim descent or Islamic descent. Very cool. She is an inhuman, and Lockjaw is, Lockjaw, who's really wrecked with Medusa, actually travels with her. Now we kind of get an idea of her being an inhuman in the comics early on, and then eventually during the Krakoa era of the X-Men, she becomes known as a mutant and is basically accepted into the mutant society of Krakoa and is resurrected. And now she is on, I think, the team NYX, which is a group of female young mutants that are like defending New York City. I think X-23 leads the team, Jubilee's on the team, she's on the team, and a few other characters. I haven't picked up the comic book yet, but I thought that was kind of interesting. And everybody knows her powers are her mutant abilities to elongate her body and things like that. So she's like can grow super tall, like almost like Reed Richards, but it's cosmic. In the movies, it's considered cosmic powers, and she's a mutant, so it's hard to say. Choose your take on the origin you choose for her character. Now, obviously, I went into details. She's one of the few characters that actually is voiced by the actress that voiced her character in another show, um, which is Diamond White. Diamond White voices Lunella. Obviously, I've gone into great details. Lunella, obviously, she is a brilliant, like Omega level intelligent teenager. She is considered non-binary, which I thought was an interesting fact because I never really noticed those things until I watched the cartoon and then started reading the comics. Obviously, Devil Dinosaur, who's also voiced by his voice actor Fred Tacitor, is carried over into the Amazing Friends. They have been on a lot this season, obviously a little bit more because of the dinosaur kind of arc. I kind of like that they're bringing in obscure characters from the MCU that are defending New York, and we're seeing more and more of this. Now, the sad part is, like I said, the show, for winning 5 Emmy Awards, considering Best Animated series in 2023, and then was a runner-up for Best Animated Series in 2024. Sadly, the show was canceled. You can watch the episode that we did last week and catch all the information for why that show was canceled. And I can go into my opinions on that again. But this was the last character that the show has shown so far. Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends is still actively going. Like I said earlier, it is getting a fourth season. They've already announced it. I think that it's currently, because Disney Plus has, I think, the whole third season already up, and we'll be getting more of these episodes. I think they said in late summer. So I'm looking forward to it because I didn't get into this show, and then little other things like, John Stamos is the voice of Iron Man, which I thought was hilarious. Why didn't I mention Ben Grimm? Because he's a Fantastic Four member. He hasn't really been on the show since season one. They have had Herbie. They have not introduced Nova. They haven't introduced a lot of the characters, which makes it kind of sad because I really wish that they gave us more of these characters like Nova and other. I'm wondering if they're going to bring in like X-23. Now that mutants are becoming more common in the MCU, are we going to see Daredevil? Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man is definitely going to be a show in this season of episodes we're doing for this series that we are going to bring up about representation because it is wildly been accused and praised for what it's done. And I have several opinions on that show. So if you guys enjoyed this video and feel like it was very informative and you got to know a little bit more about these characters, hey, click the thumbs up. If you like this series, hit the thumbs up. Characters we love need to be represented. I think everybody needs a fair shot at feeling like we find the love for these characters. I love Spider-Man. I've loved Spider-Man ever since I was a little kid. But Peter Parker was not the same as me. And then you gave me, in the Ultimate Universe, Miles Morales. I grew to love Spider-Man even more, and I have now been able to gift that love to my family. I've met Robbie Rodriguez. I've met Clayton Crane. So I've met artists that have worked on the Spider stories. I've met the late, great Stan Lee. This has been something that stays very near and dear to my heart. So again, representation, and it's very true if you listen to a lot of what Stan Lee has said. Representation is important. It's how we identify with these heroes. And I'm going to keep doing this series, like I said, when I see different shows that pique my interest. So I will not tell you what the next show is going to be because, like I said, I do have two other shows, and then the last one will be for finishing the 5-episode miniseries for this first season. It will be Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, and then I will pick up with the series again over the summer to talk about what I'm looking to see in other shows and continue the series. So if you guys love this, again, hit that thumbs up. I appreciate you guys for just taking your time to watch this show. And as always, my friends, stay geeky. I'll see you on the flip side.